Hey guys, well, today I'm going to do an opening of a card flip through of the Shadow and Flame AP. I already took it out of the clamshell because of glare, but Shadow and Flame, this is the final AP of the Dwyer Elf cycle. Hoping for some really powerful stuff. The last AP in the Mirkwood cycle had Dane, really powerful card, so I'm hoping this one also has a powerful card. I've avoided spoilers, so let's check this out. An adventure pack of 60 fixed cards for the Dwyer Elf expansion in the Lord of the Rings the card game. The contents of this pack were designed to augment existing decks and to provide players with an entirely new scenario upon which their heroes can adventure. Okay, so the hero, this guy looks pretty amazing. I mean, I just can't believe that what I'm looking at here. This is Elrond. Of course, Elrond has to be powerful. I mean, he's an elf lord, the leader, ruler, or whatever at Rivendell, and he's the keeper of one of the 3 elven rings. So his threat is very high, 13. In fact, it's higher than the sum of his stats. So what's his ability? There's got to be some reason to make up for that. So he can spend resources. You may spend resources from Elrond's resource pool to pay for spirit, leadership, and tactics allies. So that's very good. That's outstanding. So he can get allies from every sphere because obviously he can get lore. So it's like he has. No, he can't use that for attachments or events. But being able to purchase allies just with that right there. So if you have, that's really good resource smoothing as well. Because if you have 3 heroes, or even just 2, wow. I mean, I'm almost speechless as to how good that is. So if you have them with another lore, then you're getting. I just obviously it's good. I don't even know what to say or how else to go into that, but that just gives you this ability to access allies, and that's right off the bat. You don't have to wait to pull a song for your resource smoothing or having access, because obviously you only have 3 heroes at most. You're gonna be missing one of those spheres, so you can have a 4-sphere deck with Elrond. I don't know how well that would work. Honestly, this is a first reaction, but hey, I mean that's just really good to be able to access every single sphere theoretically from turn 1. Well, not theoretically, yes, depending on your opening hand. Yeah, I mean if you don't draw many allies like tactics allies, especially this is really good for me. I'm definitely gonna play with this guy because I don't use tactics. The tactics allies, I mean, they're really just good at attacking more than they're not even that good at defending. Tactics heroes are all about offense. I mean, well, Gimli can be both. You kind of want him to take some hits, but anyway, being able to just have like these heroes with really good abilities and then still be able to play some really powerful attackers from the tactics sphere, access that. And then his response, after a character is healed by another card effect, heal 1 damage on it. So that's, at first, that doesn't seem that good. It's actually really good, because there's healing cards that are like heal everything or whatever, but there's a card that came out in the last AP. This dude right here. Exhaust Warden of Healing to heal 1 damage on up to 2 different characters, and then you can pay 2 lore to ready them, so you can just pay 2 lore, do it again. Now, so here, if you have Elrond, and he doesn't exhaust to do this, it just happens, he can heal 2 damage on 2 characters. So that just doubles the usefulness and value of Warden of Healing. That's crazy. This right here is a very powerful combo if you're playing a scenario that you have to take a lot of damage in. I mean, it seems like I haven't played Shadow and Flame, obviously I'm just opening this, but overall, I just don't have heroes taking damage like I did in the first cycle where you have like all these cards that do damage to characters who are questing, or damage exhausted characters or whatever. I usually just don't even take that much damage, so I don't run healing, but if I need to, this right here, that's a very powerful combination. Okay, so let's move on to the next card. I mean, that's a great hero. That's, I guess, the 6th, because like the final AP of the previous cycle had Dane, who was like ridiculously powerful. So maybe the final one is where you really get it going, get your power. Anyway, let's move on. So first leadership card, we have an event, 0 cost. Exhaust X dwarf heroes to add X resources to a hero's resource pool and draw a card. If that said exhaust X dwarf characters, this card actually would probably be broken for 0 cost. I don't know about that. I mean, you get to draw a card. That's good. It's good to be able to draw a card, but you have to exhaust heroes. So you could. You have to ready them. So if they have unexpected courage, then you kind of waste your unexpected courage readying them back to do this. I guess you would want the timing. You would want to play this after combat and right before refresh. If you have anybody untapped, you can play this, and then you just ready them back up at the very end of the round. That would work, but other than that, I don't really see this as being a good card. Because you did it before, and you needed to ready the dwarf hero back up to do something. I mean, you're using your unexpected courage, or you're using a resource from Erebor Record Keeper, so you're not really netting much. I don't know. That might combo with something, but who knows? And we have a quote here from Glowin. You should see the stone-paved roads of many colors, the halls and cavernous streets under the earth with arches carved like trees, and the terraces and towers across the mountain sides. Then you would see that we have not been idle. Glowin. That's probably from the chapter in the Fellowship of the Council of Elrond, where they're talking about Moria, I guess. I'm not sure. I don't really notice a lot of quotes from Fellowship, but this is Moria themed. Okay, this is an interesting card. So Hearty Leadership, it's a unique attachment. Only one person can have Hearty Leadership. Attach it to a leadership hero. Every dwarf character gets +1 hit point. We will seek the hidden doors together, and we will come through. In the ruins of the dwarf's head will be less easy to bewilder than elves or men or hobbits. So he's talking to Gimli. That's Gimli in there. It's Gandalf and Gimli. That's good because it gives every dwarf. There's a lot of like global dwarf things. So just like as a comparison point, what are some other cards that like grant hit points? You've got like Boots of Erebor that is attached 0 to a dwarf or hobbit, and it gives that particular character 1 hit point, whereas this gives every dwarf a hit point. But it's a cost of 2, and it's unique, and it has to be a leadership hero. Obviously, you just build your deck. You make sure you have a leadership hero. You build your deck in such a way that you could use this. So, but it's 2 resources. Depends on how much resource acceleration you have, whether that's worth it. But it probably is because it's every character. So if you're making just a bunch of dwarves. There's also Ringed Mail, which gives dwarf or hobbits +1 hit point and a defense. So this is like comparing this with Boots. Boots just gives you a hit point. This gives you a hit point and a defense. But it's 2 as opposed to 1. So basically you're paying 2 if you're comparing this to Boots from Erebor, you're paying 2 resources to get a +1 defense over and above that for that one character. So that actually, I don't know, honestly comparing the two, it seems like maybe Boots is better just because now with the defense not being higher, you're more likely to actually take damage, but you can do healing. But so to cancel that out, because 2 resources. But again, this is still better because it's every dwarf character, not just that particular dwarf character. Anything I think that's going to give a global benefit. And then you've got Citadel Plate, the old standby, 4 resources for 4 hit points. That might be better in some circumstances. It depends on how you want to look at it, because this is concentrated on one hero, but that's 4 hit points you're gaining. This, how many hit points you gain depends on how many dwarf characters you have, actually. You know, if you have 4 dwarves out, your entire board state has 4 more hit points on it. If you add a 5th, then you have 5. But sometimes it's better. I mean, Citadel Plate on Gimli is like an old, you know, I was doing that in my first decks, right? To give him lots of boosts. So, and then you can add 2 of them, but it's restricted. This is unique, you only get 1. If that were not unique, this would be ridiculous. You could get, yeah, that'd be crazy powerful. So just a point of comparison, I don't really know exactly which would be best. I think that's probably the best card out of these 3 when you look at the overall benefit versus the cost. I don't know which one of these 3 is the best. Probably Ringmail. But it kind of depends on what you're doing. Okay, let's move on. I'm going kind of slow. So there's our Hearty Leaderships. Okay, now we're into tactics. Hands upon the bow. We live now upon an island amid many perils, and our hands are more often upon the bowstring than upon the harp. Haldir. Oh, that'd be interesting to utilize this with Haldir, because Haldir does have ranged, because it's an action. Exhaust a character you control with ranged to immediately declare it as an attacker and resolve its attack against an enemy in the staging area. He gets +1 during this attack. So like if you use it on Haldir, I think his attack has 2, he has ranged. So he could hit for 3, somebody in the staging area. That's pretty cool. You get somebody in the staging area that you think you could just one-shot it, kill it real quick, and you could do that. You would obviously do that during, I think you would want to play this in staging, and you could eliminate that threat. But this would be very potent again with, throw in Legolas. He's going to hit for 4. He's ranged. And then he can place progress tokens. You know? So you kind of couple that with some other cards like Blade of Gondolin. Right? So you get 3 progress tokens. And you've just one-shotted something in the staging area. And to like facilitate that, you could even give him a Rivendell Blade. -2 defense, and those are restricted. And then you can go crazy to help facilitate hands upon the bow and use Rivendell bow as well, and then you could put your hands upon that Rivendell bow. That gives somebody ranged, but it has to be a Noldor, Sylvan character, or Aragorn, and if it already has printed ranged, it gets +1 attack. So imagine you've got 3 attack, you give him a Rivendell bow, so he has 4 attack, and you play that, so he has 5 attack, and if you're hitting an orc in the staging area, he can have 6 attack with -2 defense. That's almost like having 8 attack. That's a lot of cards you have to get on there, but that could be just like ridiculously powerful. He's one-shotting dudes out of the staging area, putting 3 progress tokens down. That would be pretty cool. That's one of those things that, like, oh, it'd be cool if you can make this happen, but can you make it happen? I don't know. Obviously, if you're going to use this, put this card in your deck, you want to put plenty of allies with ranged. Okay, Spirit. These cards are flavorful. Look at this. This is great. Elbereth Githoniel. Secrecy 4, so it costs nothing. After a non-unique enemy, if you're in Secrecy, after a non-unique enemy attacks you, put that enemy on the bottom of the encounter deck. If your threat's lower than the enemy's engagement cost, set your threat equal to the engagement cost of that enemy. Why would your engagement cost be lower? Well, if you wanted to engage it and then play this card to just put it on the bottom of the deck, so you probably, good chance you're not going to see it again unless you end up having to shuffle the encounter deck for some reason. But this could just raise your threat, is the thing. It probably will raise your threat if you're playing in Secrecy by some number. So that's a pretty, after it attacks you. But it still attacks you. It doesn't say when, it says after. After means it's after everything's happened, I think. Whereas when would be, you know, it wouldn't resolve its attack yet. So I don't know if that's really, you have to survive the hit. You have to take the hit, and then you throw them in the bottom. Put that enemy on the bottom of the counter deck. Actually, enter a non-unique enemy attacks you. Non-unique. It has to be non-unique. I was thinking of like boss fights, like the Watcher, but those are unique. That would be really good. If it wasn't non-unique, you could really do some stuff. Okay, well, I'm not sure. Because of the wording of after versus when. Okay, I paused and kind of went through the rules reference and read up about after and when, and looking at. So I think that you haven't done combat damage yet. So enemy attack resolution, you have 6.4 is resolve. 6.3 is resolve enemy attacks process, and then 6.4a is active player resolves next enemy attack. 6.4b is enemy attack initiates, and it just says after it attacks you, because it initiates attack, and then you declare your defender, then you reveal and resolve the shadow effect, then you determine the combat damage. So 6.4b, it attacks, and then you can play this card before you get down to 6.4.3, determine combat damage. It doesn't really make a difference, actually, in this case. I don't think the difference between after and when. After means after it's happened, when means it's occurring. I don't think when would even necessarily make sense here. Well, no, it could. When could make sense, actually, because there are enemies that have effects that say whenever it attacks you, something happens. Like, I can't think of an example off the top of my head, but when it attacks, well, like Ufthak. Well, that's not a good example because you would just discard them. But it might do something to you when it attacks you automatically, like you have to discard a card or something like that. So that would still happen because this is after, not when. If it said when, then I believe that you could throw it before, like whatever its auto effect is as a result of attacking you. So that's how I think that would work. So it wouldn't prevent, like, I don't know, if it was something like when this attacks you, deal, when this, you know, enemy attacks you, deal 1 damage to a character, you'd still have to take that damage because you didn't do this until after the attack declaration part. Anyway, so moving on. So here we have another, oh, this is great. Mirror of War. Wonderful. 1 cost, attached to a hero. Discard Mirror of War to okay, we have a choice. we choose 2 of them. We can ready the hero. We have to discard them. So, okay, let's compare that to Unexpected Courage, which is 2 resources. You're not discarding it either. You're just exhausting it. Here it's 1 and you have to discard it. So you're basically paying a resource from spirit to ready. Paying 1 resource every turn or whenever. You can add a resource to attached hero's resource pool. So if you chose both of those, then you would it would pay you back. So it would be like a 0 cost ready card event. It basically works out to a 0 cost event that says ready hero. Or attached hero gets +1 will until the end of round. So that's, if you make the choice, it would be a 0 cost +1 will. Or you can put it on the top of your deck so you could keep using it. So you would probably never choose add a resource and put it on top of your deck, because that doesn't even make sense, because you would be paying 1 to get it back later. Or it would be some really convoluted way to smooth out resources. Pay a spirit to attach this to some other hero. Like a leadership hero, discard it and you get a leadership resource. That's very convoluted, so you would probably not do that combination. So the combination of ready and add a resource is just a 0 cost, or will and add a resource is 0 cost +1 will. Or you can use it to ready and put it on your deck, which would be like paying 1 to ready, 1 spirit to ready, and then you would get it back and you could keep doing that. Which wouldn't really help you unless you had a way to draw multiple cards in a turn, honestly. So the other way, so you could pay 1 every turn, assuming you're drawing more than 1 card a turn, because you're going to put it on top. If that's the only card you're drawing over and over again, you're not getting anywhere. So pay 1 for ready every turn, or pay 1 for an extra will every turn, basically. I'm not sure. I guess that's probably not that bad. But I'm thinking about stuff like, okay, so Erebor Record Keeper is pay 1 to ready. Unexpected Courage is pay 2, and you're not having to pay more than that. So if you're going to use Miravor to ready 3 times, you're losing out versus Unexpected Courage. The flip side is if you have this and Unexpected Courage, you just have so much readying capability that if you do it enough, your heroes theoretically could quest, attack, and defend. And if you have very powerful heroes, then you don't need allies as much because your heroes are doing more. Another way to look at it too is with the will effects. Like there's already cards that give +1 will. Dunedain Quest in favor of the lady, and they both cost 2. So it's the same thing as like Unexpected Courage. The more times you use Miravor, if you're going to need it more often, you want to just use one of these 2 cost cards. I would think, so I'm not really sure that that's that great of a card. You have to have card draw in your deck, or it's not worth it. That's all I'll say about that one. You guys can comment and stuff if there's more that I need to think about with these things. Okay, lore cards. Master of the Forge. Oh, and another card is you have, obviously, Elrond's Council. +1 will for 0 cost. Master of the Forge. 2, so his cost is proper. He has exhaust him to search the top 5 cards of your deck for any 1 attachment and add it to your hand. Shuffle the other cards back into your deck. So if you have really important attachments you want, then I can help you find them, like Hearty Leadership or whatever. Okay, that's interesting. We have, that's another one of those searched for blah, blah, blah. Like You've got, what are some other cards so far that are similar to that? Well, there's Timely Aid. This one is reveal the top 5 cards of your deck and put a revealed ally into play if able. So, okay, that's pretty good. So, top 5 for an attachment you still have to pay, top 5 for an ally you don't pay. We've got the old Gandalf Search, which probably no one ever used ever, but that lets you look at a certain number of cards based on what you pay and get those in your hand. So you could pay 5. So I mean, compared, I mean, this lets you find any card, but you have to pay 5 to search 5. That's really expensive. But you don't shuffle your deck. You also, so I don't know, you get to return to the top of your deck in any order, but still that's not that great. I mean, there's way better cards now for that. You've got Mustering the Rohirrim, an event, so you can search the top 10 for any Rohan and add it to Rohan ally, and then shuffle. So this is 10 cards deep versus 5 cards deep. But he's an ally, so you can do that every turn. This is an event, right? So you're just doing it once. And then the old Word of Command, which I went crazy over when I first saw it, but it's honestly the fact that you have to exhaust an Istari character to find any card in your deck. I mean, you're just not going to do that. No one is going to exhaust an Istari character to search your deck, unless they start making Istari heroes, because you can like exhaust them and then ready them back up or something. But who's going to use Gandalf's one turn for that? So that's good. I mean, that's, you know, pretty decent. I don't see that that's a bad card. It seems like a good card to me. Okay, Peace and Thought. Refresh action. Exhaust 2 heroes to draw 5 cards. 1 cost, and you draw 5 cards. Okay. That seems awesome, but I'm not really sure it is. Let's see. Because you have to exhaust 2 heroes, and you're doing it in the refresh phase. So that's the problem with this. That's the problem. Because when is your action window in the refresh phase? It's after you've already readied all your cards and raised your threat. Then you have an action window. So that means if you play this card, you're going to start the next turn with 2 heroes exhausted to not be able to do anything. So you would have to use a readying effect, you know. Conversely, if you've used them and they are already exhausted, you can't use this unless you ready them with Unexpected Courage. You're only going to have 3 Unexpected Courages in your deck. You would need a lot more readying effects, like Erebor, Record Keeper. There's other stuff where you can ready Rohan characters or Prince Imrahil. The other thing, I mean, so we've got from the core set, Lorien's Wealth. 3 to draw 3 event. Okay, that's 1 to draw 5. But the 1 is not its true cost. You also are losing 2 actions, basically. It's 1 resource and 2 actions. There's Ancient Matham for 1. You can draw 3 off of that. I think this is just a very solid card draw card. Especially if you can stack them and then just draw a bunch of cards. Then sacrifice a 1 cost for 2 when an ally leaves play, and then it's not destroyed, just leaves play. Another card draw. 1 for 1 card. So same basic cost of the Lorien's Wealth, which is 3 for 3. But Ancient Matham is 1 for 3. This is 1 for 5 plus 2 heroes. That, I mean, I think that this could be really good if you build around it, I guess. I'm not sure off the top of my head how I would do it, but you just have to have plenty of readying effects and tricks up your sleeve for that. Otherwise, that does seem kind of expensive in the fact that you have to do it after they would have already readied anyway. Makes it tricky. but 5 cards is good. Okay, we have a secrecy 3, so if you're in secrecy at 0, risk some light. Oh, this is thematically so cool. Look at the top 3 cards of the encounter deck. You can select one and move it to the bottom. Return the unselected to the top in any order. That's very good. That is awesome. One, you're basically getting rid of a really difficult card, and the other, you're scrying 2 cards. You know what the next 2 cards are, as opposed to Henemarth or Denethor, you get to see one of them. Well, Denethor lets you look at one and put it on the bottom, but then you don't know what the next one is, right? But you know 1 card coming up. This, you know 2 cards, and you've manipulated the encounter deck as well. Like, you can manipulate the encounter deck with, like, Out of the Wild, with Secrecy 2. You look at the top 5 and take one out. So that's kind of like the effect of put it on the bottom. That's pretty similar. But here you shuffle, so you haven't really scryed. You don't know what's coming up. But here you're manipulating and you know what's coming. I mean, that's an outstanding card. But I really want to play Elrond, and I don't know if I'm going to be in secret. But dude, that's probably worth 3. To be able to do all that, to be able to move a card down, so you get some disgusting card, or like, oh, I can't cancel that treachery because I don't have the card Test of Will, or it's just something brutal. Yeah, that's nice. I think that's a good. I think that might be worth 3, as long as you have a good resource acceleration. And then now we have Vilya, a 2-cost unique attachment. Artifact ring attached only to Elrond. It gives him a spirit icon. That's good. Exhaust Elrond and Vilya to reveal a top card of your deck. You can immediately play or put into play the revealed card for no cost. Otherwise, move the revealed card to the bottom of your deck. That's... whoa. Whoa. That is very powerful. Dude, you rock her with this that is a combo. Top 5 cards, you just put like the most expensive cards, and then you just start playing them for free. That's crazy. That is powerful. That is extremely... How are they gonna make some... What the... That's really great. I mean, Elrond Vilya. Okay, I guess that's the deck, man. That's where you go from here. Elrond Vilya, Imladris Stargazer, Warden of Healing. What's his name? Yeah, Warden of Healing. That right there, that's some extremely powerful stuff going on right there. So that I don't even know what to say. You can only do this once a turn. I don't know any way to ready an attachment. You can do this and then ready Elrond so we can do something, but that's nuts. I can't believe this combination exists. What is going to happen in this game? I mean, they have got to be making some more like crazy hard, difficult quests, because that is something else. Okay, well, and those are all the cards. Well, I'm not going to go over the encounter deck or anything. You'll just see that when I play this, but that's something else. I'm going to get to building a deck. Oh my gosh.